Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about statement of cost of goods manufactured and statement of cost of goods sold. This is a very important topic. If you need to have command on cost accounting and management accounting, you need to understand this. I would also highly recommend that you watch my video on cost concepts and cost behavior prior to this video or after this video so that you can master this topic. Hi, I am the Commerce Specialist. Welcome to my channel where you'll find content covering learning outcomes of various academic qualifications and professional certifications, including life-changing business ideas and hack. So without further ado, let's jump into the topic. When we talk about statement of cost of goods manufactured, we are talking about summarizing all the manufacturing cost into one statement so that in the end we are able to find what is the total cost of goods manufactured. In other words, whatever goods we have manufactured, how much do they cost us? If you talk about cost of goods manufactured, we are talking about the main cost, material, labor and overheads. But there are other items as well. So what is recommended is first you get done with the material cost. So the way I calculate, which is very student friendly, is first calculate the cost of material used. So this entire statement, whether it be cost of material used or statement of cost of goods manufactured, is just like a story. For example, we start off with raw material opening stock. So at the beginning of the year, we had, let's suppose, 40,000 of raw material. Let's say we are manufacturing furniture and our raw material, direct material is wood. So 40,000 worth of stock was already there in the warehouse. This is not enough for the whole year. So what we're going to do is add purchase of raw material. So when I buy raw material, let's say I'm talking about 200,000. Obviously, I have to pay some freight on this, carriage or transportation, whatever you call it. Basically, freight is when we are talking about air freight or sea freight. Carriage is if it's coming through a train or a rail, okay? And transportation is if it's coming through some motor van, truck, vehicle, whatever. So we are assuming that we have purchased raw material worth 200,000. On top of this, we paid 10,000 as transportation, which is freight in, transportation in, or carriage in. Okay, and if the raw material is purchased from a foreign country, we probably have to pay some custom duty or some import duty, some government levies. I'm assuming it to be another 10,000. So when I add all these, I get 220,000, which is called delivered cost of raw material purchased. Obviously, delivered cost means we have received it at our premises in our organization. So after that, probably once we inspect the raw material, there is a possibility that some of the raw materials are not up to the mark what we ordered. So probably we are going to return them back to the supplier. So here we minus return of raw material, obviously to the supplier. Let's say it's 5,000. And we also got some discount on purchase of raw material. Discount on purchase of raw material, let's say that happens to be another 5,000. So when we minus from 220, this is 10, we will get net purchase of raw material. Net purchase of raw material, 220 minus 10 is 210,000. Now when you add it with the opening inventory, 40,000 worth of raw material we already had, 210,000 worth of we have purchased now. So we have raw material available for use. 40 and 210 is 250,000. And now if I tell you the closing stock of raw material, closing stock or ending inventory, I'm writing ending inventory, let's say, because here I write opening stock and opening inventory, closing stock and closing inventory is the same. So if I tell you raw material available for use was 250,000 and at the end of the year we are left with only raw material worth 50,000. So what happened to the rest? The rest has been used, so we call it raw material. Either you call it raw material consumed or raw material used. Used in what? Used in production, which is 200,000. So this is, I recommend you calculate first, which is called raw material consumed or raw material used. When I say raw material here, basically I'm talking about the direct material, because as you know there are three costs: material cost, which is direct material, direct labor, and overheads. Overheads will include all the indirect costs, so we'll talk about that. It is recommended that you calculate raw material consumed first and then go making the statement of cost of goods manufactured, which I'm going to make here. Let's have a look. So now I'm talking about statement of cost of goods manufactured. This is not a very well-known short form, but I'm just saving time. So statement of cost of goods manufactured sold, I'll be calculating later. I start with work in process, or you can call it goods in process, work in process or goods in process, opening stock. So I'm just assuming this to be 100,000. Now what is meant by work in process or goods in process opening stock? This means last year we could not finish some orders. We started manufacturing, let's say 10,000 tables, 8,000 tables we were able to finish, 2,000 tables were still in process, and this is the amount which we have spent on those 2,000 tables which are still in process, not yet complete. Alright, so we start off with work in process opening stock, then we say add manufacturing cost. Obviously, let's say this opening stock is for 2,000 tables. Okay, this is the cost of 2,000 tables which are incomplete, and 2,000 tables are so less, we are not going to make just 2,000 tables in the whole year. So we are going to manufacture more. That's why I said add manufacturing cost, and it's an assumption. It is an assumption that we are manufacturing, let's say 48,000 more tables. So when I say add manufacturing cost, this is for 48,000 additional tables. So when I say manufacturing cost, the very first is raw material consumed. In order to make the tables, how much of raw material has been consumed? 200,000. We have already calculated it. So I'm writing it here, 200,000. Then there is something known as direct labor. Direct labor cost assigned to production. Now this is very important. Let's say this is 300,000. When I say assigned to production means this is the total cost of direct labor which you had to pay. Don't mix it with what we have paid already. There is a possibility that the total labor cost which is relevant to manufacturing is 500,000, but what we have paid so far is 50. So 50,000 is not the total cost. The total cost assigned to production is 500,000. Okay, so here I'm assuming it to be 300,000. So let me tell you guys, there is another cost term. When I add direct material consumed and direct labor, I'm getting 500,000 here, and this has a special name. We call it prime cost. So whenever you add direct material consumed and direct labor cost, what we get is known as prime cost. That's the bare minimum. In order to manufacture furniture, the bare minimum you need is the material, which is wood, and you need the carpenter, who's the laborer. So once you have prime cost, you're going to add the third cost, which is overheads, or you can call it factory overheads. Again, I'm reminding you, if you want to know more about what is direct material, direct labor, indirect labor, what are overheads, I have made a detailed video on cost classification and cost behavior. I highly recommend that you watch these two videos so that your fundamentals are clear. So when I talk about overheads, overhead includes all indirect costs. So always write first indirect material, indirect labor. I'm not going to explain what is indirect material labor. I already told you that I've mentioned it in this video. So indirect material, indirect labor, we are talking about factory. Short form I'm writing to save time. Factory, rent, taxes and insurance. Factory, heat, light and water bills. Okay, depreciation on factory machines. Okay, we are talking about supervisors, factory supervisor salary, factory repair and maintenance. In a nutshell, overheads are all the production cost related to the factory other than prime cost. So other than direct material consumed and direct labor, if a cost is related to production, it comes under the umbrella of overheads. So I'm writing here just to make you understand, all costs related to factory other than prime cost. So we are assuming that we added all these and they all add up to let's assume 400,000. So now we have the three main costs. As always I say, we have the cost of material consumed, we have direct labor and we have overheads. So when you add 5 and 4, you get 900,000. This 900,000 is known as total manufacturing cost. I have named it as TMC. Now what you're going to do is you're going to add this with your opening work in process, 1 plus 9. So you will get total work in process during the year, which is 1 million. Total goods in process during the year or total work in process during the year means how much cost has been incurred so far on all the tables which we are making, which includes the 2000 table here and the 48,000 fresh order we have taken. So on 2000 table we have already spent 100,000, though we have spent last year, but already 100,000 has been spent, and this 48,000 units we have already spent 900,000. So 1 and 9, this is the total cost which has been incurred so far on 2 plus 48, which is 50,000 tables. And if I tell you at the end of the year, less work in process, ending inventory or closing stock. Ending inventory or closing stock means at the end of the year, goods worth 200,000 are still in process. For example, we are talking about 4,000 tables. So if total cost which we have incurred so far is 1 million and at the end of the year goods worth 200,000 are still incomplete, what happened to the rest? The rest have been completed, so we call it cost of goods manufactured. 1 million minus 2 will give you 800,000. In terms of number of units, 2,000 units we had from last year, 48,000 units we took a current order, total 50,000 tables we started working on, total amount spent is 1 million. In the end, 4,000 tables were incomplete, which cost 200,000. So what about the remaining? So 2 plus 48 is 50. 50 minus 4 is 46,000 tables have been completed actually, which cost us 800,000. So now if you divide this 800,000 by 46,000 tables, it will give you cost per table, which comes to 17.39 for one table. This is your cost of one unit. Cost of all 46,000 table is 800,000. 800,000 divided by this, you get cost of one table. So guys, this is how we calculate statement of cost of goods manufactured. Now there is another statement which we call statement of cost of goods sold. So I'm going to cover that as well. So when I start off with statement of cost of goods sold, statement of cost of goods sold, we start off with finished goods opening stock. Let's assume this is 50,000, and for your understanding, we are talking about finished goods now. Let's say 1,000 tables we already had. Finished goods opening stock means you have goods which are totally complete, ready for sale, but they are not sold yet. So we already had 1,000 tables from last year which we could not sell. Then add cost of goods manufactured, and it's coming from here, 800,000. And this is actually 46,000 tables. Now sometimes what happens is you get an unexpected order from the customer and you don't have the plant capacity to manufacture that many tables, that many units. So what you do is, instead of not accepting the order, what you do is you accept the order and you buy tables from somewhere else. If an order is received, you cannot make it now because of any other constraint, you buy. So when you buy, so I'm assuming we are buying also finished goods. We have manufactured 46,000 tables, 1,000 tables we already had, and we are buying more. So I'm writing here add purchase of finished goods. So let's assume we purchased finished goods worth 400,000. Assuming we purchased 3,000 more tables. And obviously when you purchase, you have to pay freight. You can write anything, freight, carriage, or transportation, they all mean the same. Let's say 100,000. Then if you're purchasing from another country, there is a possibility of paying import duty or some type of custom duty or government taxes, something. Let's say that's 50,000. So when you add this is your delivered cost of purchased finished goods, delivered cost of finished goods purchased. So this is 550,000. Okay, once finished goods comes to your territory, your warehouse, you will inspect and probably you may return some finished goods back to the supplier. So this is return of finished goods. Let's say 25,000. So this is just to make you understand that 500 units we return which cost 25,000, because when we are purchasing different units at different costs. So don't get too deep into the calculation. This is just to make you understand that some units we return and they cost 25,000. Okay, so it may not be very proportionate, but I'm just giving an example. So 550 minus 25 will give you 525,000. This is what we call net purchase of finished goods. Now if you notice, this is 300 minus 5, so we are talking about 2,500 tables. So you had 1,000 tables already, 46,000 tables you manufactured, and 2,500 tables you purchased. So what is the total cost? The total comes to 1,375,000. Okay, we can call it finished goods available for sale. And mind you, this is 46, 47 and 2,500. 49,500 tables. And if I tell you at the end of the year, your finished goods closing stock or ending inventory or closing inventory, whatever you call, you're left with 1,500 tables, which cost 375,000. So how much you're left with? 1 million. So if you have finished goods available for sale worth 1,375,000 and at the end of the year goods worth 375,000 are left unsold, what happened to the rest? The rest have been sold and we call it cost of goods sold, which is 1 million. Now if you want to understand what is the cost of one unit which you sold, so you can divide 1 million by 49 minus 1500. It is 48,000. Yeah, 49,500 is the total tables available for sale. 1,500 was left, so you are left with this many units you sold and this much they cost you. So 1 million divided by 48,000 will give you the cost of one unit sold, which is 20.83. This is cost of one unit which has been sold. And obviously once you know the goods which you are selling cost you 20.83, obviously you will sell it at a higher price. So guys, this is all about statement of cost of goods manufactured and statement of cost of goods sold. If you have any queries or concern relating to this topic, do leave a comment. I will respond to you as usual. If you're not yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. This is one way of showing that you value my work. If you like this video, please share it with your dear and near ones so that others can also benefit. Thank you so very much for your precious time. Love you all.